I thought I'd do a little transfer update today as things seem to be finally picking up when it comes to the news and such. And we seem to be getting closer to potential signing that striker that we've been looking for. And that striker is Evan Ferguson. It's being reported from several sources, several journalists in the knows, all of those people that we're in a strong position to sign Evan Ferguson. We're getting closer to an agreement. And just what that agreement is will be very interesting. I have mixed feelings on signing Evan Ferguson for reasons I'll get in. Some of you may already know why that is. But it's going to be interesting because there's been no real details on whether it's going to be a loan with an option or an obligation, whether it's going to be a straight up signing, like permanent transfer. And that is the issue with me. Germany, I don't think he's going Germany anymore because there's been a big knock-on effect because Duran is going to Al Nassr, Saudi. Victor Boniface is no longer going there, so I believe it's Leverkusen. He's staying. So it's had a knock-on effect. So now we seem to be in the driver's seat for Evan Ferguson. And yeah, I don't know how to feel. Like I'm hearing reports of £40 million. Let's get it straight down. As a player, I really like Evan Ferguson. I think he could be a great signing for West Ham. There is clearly a lot of potential and a lot of talent when it comes to Evan Ferguson. So I'm the idea of Evan Ferguson, I like very much. The fact that he's played under Graham Potter gave him his start. It's all massive, it's all huge. And he just seems like that well-rounded striker that we really need. And I think he'll fit in well. But it's the injuries, as people are saying in the show. It's the injuries for me. And let's go over his injuries. I mean, he's only 20 years old, and I like this move that we're making towards younger players. We're looking at Tyler Morton from Liverpool, young player, defensive midfielder. I believe he's 22 years old. So that one is a deal that could happen. So we're really prioritizing youth. But so he is fit at the moment, as David says in the chat. He is fit at the moment. It's his injury history, right? So let's go back to the 22-23 season. He had an ankle injury. He was injured for 21 days. He missed 5 games. 23-24. He missed 4 games. He was injured for 19 days. 23-24 later that same season. This is the big one. Cruciate ligament tear. 147 days injured from April the 1st to August. Luckily, it was nearer the end of the season, so he only missed 13 games. Cruciate ligament, that could potentially have long-term effects. And his most recent injury is noted down as ankle problems, which obviously stemmed from in the past. And he missed 37 days from Christmas Day. Seemed 7 games, and it seems he's available for selection this week. But I spoke to a Brighton mate of mine, shout out Maz, and he said he also had meningitis, which apparently seems to be affecting him up until now. He seems to be a bit tired when he's playing, so that seems to have had an effect. It's a tough one. I'm in two minds because getting those injuries so young can limit your career. But on the other hand, the younger you are, the better you are at recovering. And if maybe that's something that we could help him through and, minimize. I mean, look, Antonio had a lot of injuries, but they were like muscle injuries. A lot of these are ligament injuries, joint injuries. That's a worry. That is a worry. I take him on loan all day long, a loan with an option to buy it. What we have to realize, This is interesting. Fed out with the manager lad has an attitude problem. I mean, he's 20 years old. That's it. I wasn't aware of that, Tony. Because I just look at it. The fact that Brighton are so willing to get rid of him is a red flag. The fans don't want to see him go, which is always a good sign. They're sort of bemused. And their thing is, well, maybe there's something Brighton know that we don't know. That is a worry. That's a big worry because he is such a top talent and has got so much potential. Why would they be so quick to get rid of him, especially to another Premier League team, and will be playing, really competing for the same positions as Brighton? Really, we're a rival to them, and for them to send him to a rival, yeah, it's going to be tough. I've seen, look, like I said, if it's a loan with an option, I'm taking it. I know some people are like, oh, you're developing another club's player. Doesn't matter. For us now, we need to plug a gap. And that gap is the striker position. We need someone to come into the end of the season and get that body up top. I'm not too fussed of who it is. And then in the summer, we can do our best to make sure we get the best possible striker. And that is the big thing for me. I don't want to sign the best striker we can get in January. I want us to sign the best striker we can get, full stop. And if we can't get him in January, I'd rather wait. You know, it is worrying. And that's when Brighton, they're so known for developing younger players. The fact that they're looking to sell him, yeah, it is suspect. Matoma is being linked with a move to Saudi for 90 million. I don't know if that's going to have an impact, whether they're going to want to, sell Matoma and Ferguson. If it is true he's fallen out with a manager, that has an impact. He wasn't really getting much game time when he was fit, Ferguson, which I think has sparked the, him wanting to move on. Everton have been linked with him as well. They've just lost Calvert-Lewin, who's injured, which I'm glad. Remember, he's another one I was massively against signing because he's injury prone. Some West Ham fans did want him. I didn't want to go anywhere near him. I didn't want to go anywhere near Calvert-Lewin, and he's done his hamstring again, and he's out for weeks and weeks. So Everton are going to potentially be desperate, and they could go for Evan Ferguson. He maybe would like to stay down south. Like I said, I like the idea of him. As Gravy points out, he's an Irish international. I like the idea of I've always wanted to have a good Irish international, and I was so happy when we had Randolph. And it would be nice. And like I said, he just seems like, as a player, he just seems like real quality player. He just has to get over these injuries, because there's not a single season gone by where he hasn't been injured. And it's the timing of when he got injured, which is lucky that he hasn't missed so many games. But yeah, that cruciate ligament, that's the big worry, and the ankle, the persistent ankle issues, and the meningitis. So I don't know if the club look at it, and the medical team, I don't know if I massively trust our medical team. But if they look at it and decide this is something we can deal with, and he's not going to be persistently injured, we'll have to see. But we've let some real injury-prone players, come. Is it worth the risk? And that is such a good question. Is it worth the risk? £40 million? I don't think it is. He could go on to be, and this is what my Brighton mate said, if he's fit and playing, he's like up to £100 million player or whatever. He could go on to be a £100 million player. He could. But we're getting into Guilherme territory then. Right now, like, if a fit Ferguson starts for West Ham, let's not, there's no two ways about it. Fit Ferguson, he starts for West Ham. But then, like I said, is it the best we can get? I trust Potter if he really wants him, but he's looking at him as a player. We need someone to check, what the situation is. He's only 20, so I see what Matt's saying, 59 appearances, 2021. He is only 20. He's young, so I don't want to judge him in too much in terms of how many games he's played. It's like I said, it's all about those injuries and the fee. £40 million for is a massive risk with FFP and PSR. And then we go to the summer. You know, what are we going to do? I just really would rather us not spend anything now and get loans in, go to the end of the season, and then spend that money when we ain't in such a difficult situation where a lot of clubs ain't looking to sell mid-season. It's so it's so I'm so done with the sort of injury curse that we've had. You know, remember Andy Carroll was like our record signing, and the idea of Carroll was brilliant. You know, whole fit Big Sam system, whip crosses into him all day long, banging goals, just persistently injured. And that is the issue. Someone so young picking up so many of these injuries. I just would rather swerve it and not get swept up into, like, you know, oh, we're desperate, we need a striker. Bowen, as I said, Bowen and Somerville are back. Although Potter said in his press conference that Somerville could take a bit longer, so he might not be back for Chelsea. But he looked good running on the pitch. He was jumping up and down in training. I see the training video. But we've got them two back now. It's just about how badly Potter wants him. That's what it's gonna come down to. We put a bid in for Pepe from PSV, which was a test in the waters of Sullivan we tried bid. So that's not going to happen. They pretty much laughed in our faces. I'm just a bit worried that we're scattergunning approaching things, jumping from player to player. I don't like it. I don't like it. Let's save the money this season, because the market is ridiculous at the moment. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, the players I'm seeing. Do you know what I'm glad of as well? John Duran saga is over. And I feel really happy, actually, really content now. Like, that the Duran thing used to haunt me. Anytime I used to see him score a goal, it used to haunt me and think, damn, like, what could have been? But now he's going to Saudi. I just think, did we dodge a bullet there? Really? I mean, if we got him, he would have banged goals for us. I'm confident. But then Saudi comes knock him. I mean, we would have probably made a profit off him. But he probably would have kept Lopetegui in a job. These goals probably would have kept him here, and we wouldn't have Graham Potter and a long-term future ahead of us under Potter. So now I'm feeling content, and I'm glad he's going to Saudi, and we don't have to worry about him and think about him ever again. He'll probably be there a few seasons and come back to the Prem. Have I seen the Rashford news that he's set on us? Do you know what? With the Rashford thing, for them, I think the best move, and I know there is so many red flags. There's red flags on Ferguson, but there's serious red flags on Rashford. I think a good deal all around would be us paying like 100 grand a week towards his wages, which is nothing. So Man United have to pay most of it. Sign him on loan, and he contribute to West Ham, whether he's playing on the left or up front. And then by the end of it, they've got an asset they can sell, because they can't sell Rashford right now. Who's buying Rashford on the wages he's on? The fact that he's not even getting into the squad, and all the news and circus surrounding him, and the fee that they're going to want for him. Who's going to sign him? Who's going to spend money on him? If they loan him to West Ham, where he's got a new environment, you know, a good manager, even Graham Potter, and he can come in and make a difference. Say he has a Lingard effect. Then Man United have an asset that clubs are going to seriously look at and spend money on, and clubs may take on his wages. You know, that's the best thing. I don't want us to start. Look, we're never going to pay his wages. I think Rashford will probably end up having to take a wage cut, or he's probably just going to stay at Man United. You know, so yeah, look, it's one of them things. I see. Look, we do need a striker, but again, don't panic buy. That's how you end up with Danny Ings's, Jordan Hugill's. You know, I'm trying to think of other crap that we've bought in January out of just desperation and panic. that is the worry, that we'll end up with more of them on high. And it seems like Potter is of that same mindset. And I see that clown, the Moose. I don't know if anyone watched the press conference. We got this clown, the Moose, that claims to be a West Ham fan, right? He claims to be a West Ham fan, and he's saying to him, well, West Ham fans, they want you to tell us what signings you're going for and who's signing. They want the updates. And I'm sitting there and thinking, this geezer's not got a clue. Last thing I want Graham Potter to do is go to transfer window and go, yeah, we're talking about Evan Ferguson. We really want him. We really want to sign Rashford. We're trying to get him done. Like, shut the fuck up and move in silence. That Matt Moose is really a clown. I mean, anyone who calls himself the Moose, it tells you all you need to know. Honestly, I can't stand him. I think he's a secret Spurs fan. I remember when he said he wanted Spurs to win the Champions League. Tells you all you need to know about him. But yeah, I'm fully with what he said in his press conference, Potter, is we're not going to just bring in people for the sake of bringing them in. We can't. We've done that before. And I think a lot of fans are in the same mindset, so there's less pressure. And it is the fact that we're not really in a situation we have to worry about going down or worry about Europe. We had January's gone past when we was in the Europa League, when we was chasing top four, where we could have spent money and could have got players to help us get over the line, and we didn't. We missed those opportunities. Yeah, Potter did put Moose in his place, and he put that other guy in his place. I like Potter's. I didn't watch any of Lopetegui's. I watched the first Lopetegui press conference, and that was it. I watched like one or two, and I couldn't watch it anymore. Potter, I watch all of his press conferences. Very interesting, very insightful. Got a good manner about him, and he's not going to sit there and start spouting out about who we're trying to sign and who we want to journos. I get why journos want it, but they need to get a clue, really, because managers aren't going to just sit here and try to talk about other clubs' play. Never do. I don't know why they still bother to ask. So, yeah, this Tyler Morton one could be an interesting one. Like I said, from Liverpool, defensive midfielder, wants game time, 22. He's at that age now where he's not really a young prospect where he can hope for a few minutes off the bench here and there. He needs to be playing. And we need a younger, more energetic defensive midfielder. Alvarez is looking much improved under Potter, but we need that alternative. We may have to try and move Rodriguez on, but we really need an engine in midfield. We really need more legs there. And look, I don't know too much about Tyler Morton other than his position, and he plays for Liverpool. That's it. I can't say I've ever watched him, but I'm liking the youth approach because, God, our squad is old. Our squad is seriously old, and the age needs bringing down. And thankfully, a lot of players are going in the summer. But striker-wise, I'm fairly comfortable, really, with our options. If Bowen has to go up top, he goes up top when he comes back. He's nowhere near as effective as a striker, Bowen, but I'm comfortable for now, for the rest of the season. For what I've seen so far this season in the performances and what he's able to get out of it, let's just relax. Soufal and Souček going Everton this summer. Mark my words. Well, listen, we get a fee for Souček. Soufal obviously will be out of contract, so he's free to do what he wants. I've been critical of Souček in the past, and it's one that divides opinion. I think Souček has a place in this squad. I think he's limited in what he can do on the ball. But I've always said this all season, he's a plan B. And what he brings, he's a West Ham player, do you know what I mean? In the work rate, how much he puts a shift in, what he does for the badge. You can't not love Souček. So I wouldn't like to see him go to Everton, but if we got a decent fee, I'm taking it. If they want to pay like 20 mil or something, listen, let's talk. We need to start generating some revenue of players. We haven't got many assets we can sell to improve this team. when you look at a lot of players, like Rodriguez, we're probably going to get next to nothing off him. Hopefully, Potter can try and turn him into a little bit more of an asset. But, you know, what can we do? They're still not sure if we want to keep Soler, which is fair, I think. I think there's potential, but I want to see more from Soler to see whether we go for him or, you know, because he wasn't a Potter signing. So if we can let him go, then, you know, we'll go in another direction. I'm not completely... I think they said like 20 million euros, around 15 million quid. It's not a massive amount of money for Soler, what he can do. So I trust Potter. I'm backing him. What he wants to do, I will go with it. But if it comes down to injury-prone players for £40 million, that's when I'm starting to question. And if we sign him for £40 million and he ends up with the same injury issues, some heads are going to have to roll. We're going to have to sack off our whole medical team. Sorry, medical. And if they're watching, I'm not, but you got to do your due diligence, because we've seen it too many times before where you wonder how the hell these players got past the medical. Then we was going to go for Charlie Austin. I remember we were going for Charlie Austin and he didn't pass the medical with West Ham. And then he went on and like done really well and didn't really get too many injuries. We should be sponsored by Boopy, yeah. Honestly, the NHS. That's what we should be. Honestly. Moyes will get Souček and Sullivan for free. Souček and Soufal for free. Sullivan will make sure of that. I don't know about that. That would be mental. Just take... I mean, Souček we have no say in because he's out of contract in the summer. He had no... Yeah, Sullivan said he had no ligaments in his knees. He had no ligaments in his right knee. Although when Sky Sports said he had no ligaments in his right dick, that was... Yeah, well, Ward-Prowse. Why aren't we recording Ward-Prowse? I'm sure we can record. The geezer's hardly getting a game at Forest. And I don't blame Forest because they're playing so bloody well. But if we can bring him back. Because his value is depreciating because he's not getting game time. So why aren't we getting this guy back in the club if they're not playing him? Because he's someone we could potentially get a little bit of money back in for in the summer. That's what I'm looking at. I'm hoping Maxwell Cornet does well. He came off the bench the other day for Genoa. And hopefully he does well and we can get a little bit of money back from him, get his wages off. That's what we need, you know. So we got a better free to say with Scars now. Don't need JWP. Yeah, fair enough. But still, the thing is with Ward-Prowse, he can press in that midfield. You know, he's a good passer of the ball. It's just with the players that we've got, he's a good option to have. He really is a good option to have. So I think, look, if he comes in and he gets more minutes at West Ham, we could potentially see about moving him on. And there could be some clubs that take him on. But, I mean, when is let's have a look when his contract runs out. James Ward-Prowse. I hate these double-barreled names. He's just, you know what I mean, it's costing kids money getting on the back of their shirt. So I don't know how many kids have got Ward-Prowse on the back of their shirt at West Ham. He signed a 4 year, so 2027 his contract ends in August. So August 20 or June 2027. So 2.5 years he's got left on his deal. So that's going to be a tough one to move on. And if he's not playing any games, then it's not going to happen. League Two, we ain't meant to send him to League Two. League Two ain't going to pay his wages. He's someone that's either going to need to go abroad or to another Premier League club. Hopefully Moyes, Everton. We're just going to dump all the crap we don't want that Moyes signed on him. Like, oh, Moyes is, here you go. Have Soufal, have Ward-Prowse, Mavropanos. Who else signed under Moyes' tenure that we want to get rid of? Cornet, Ings. Just that's it. Get the band back together. That's what he needs to do. Sign all of these players that's joined under him that we just want to get rid of. Yeah, it's a crazy. We won't get Delap. We can forget about Delap. Delap's destined for bigger things. I think he's going to have a lot of suitors in the summer. So for us to get him, it's going to be very, very difficult. Yeah, Zuma's not apparently as well. Zuma's not getting much game time either, which he hasn't made many appearances. I think he's one. Actually, please say Zuma's contracts are out in the summer. I think it is Zuma contract. His contract expires 30th of June 2025. So that's someone we don't have to worry about anymore. But I wouldn't recall him. No. He was great. Like he was when he was good. But his legs are gone. His knees are shot. You know, he's just done. Unfortunately, he's having a short career, and it's a shame because he's a very good defender. He really is, but unfortunately, the injuries, and that's where I look at someone like Ferguson, who's had these bad injuries so young. It could end up just shortening his career and just being someone that spends more time in the treatment room than, on the pitch. And that is my worry. Just seeing if there's any other updates. Yeah, so, the transfer window runs down at... it ends on Monday. So let's hope we can do something that's sensible and not out of desperation, because we have no danger of going down. Apparently Paqueta as well hasn't trained. That's another issue. We've been very unlucky after having, just an amazing game, probably his best game of the season. Paqueta picks up, a groin injury. I think that's what he's out with. He seemed to pick up that groin injury. And potentially we could be without Bowen, Somerville and Paqueta on Monday against Chelsea, which would be, it would be disastrous. I think the most likely person to play is Bowen. Whether he's fit to start is going to be another thing. He hasn't played any football in a while, although he's been training. Hopefully Paqueta can play, because if he hasn't trained up until today, then it's looking doubtful. Andre Silva, no. Like some of these players that we're linked with as well, and you're just like, bloody hell. Like, just not good enough. And not good enough. Yeah, honestly. Yeah, some fans are saying an obligation for Ferguson would be perfect. No chance would that be perfect. Imagine we sign him for an obligation and he gets injured. We should put in an injury clause saying, right, if he's fit for the whole rest of the season, doesn't get injured, we'll sign him on an obligation, 40 mil. If he picks up a single injury, then, which no club would agree to that because they have no control over it. But, it could be a crunching tackle or whatever. But, yeah, I'm just majorly concerned about the Ferguson deal. We'll have to just wait and see what they do and hope it's the right business. And if we do splash 40 million on him, let's hope our luck finally happens. Because like I said, Brighton fans don't want to see him go. They really don't want to see him go. They're really perplexed by the deal. So there's a good talent there. I just think save that money, save that 40 mil. Don't take a gamble like that. Which is so funny because Sullivan is so risk averse. I would be very surprised to see him go and spend 40 million on an injury, a player with his injury track record. If we could get Delap, like I said, I think Delap's very difficult, but if we could save that 40 million and chuck it at Ipswich in the summer, maybe with a 10 mil on top, that could be the smarter business. But I'll be glad, one way or another, when this transfer window is closed, we know we've got what we've got, and we just get on and see what happens for the rest of the season. he's coming to West Ham at a very difficult time. I mean, the squad building has been atrocious in the past few years. Pre-Tim, post-Tim, it's been a shambles. It really, yeah. When you look at the state of the squad with the money we've spent under Moyes and Lopetegui, right? We've spent probably like 600, around 600 million pounds, right, since Moyes came in. And look how old our squad is. Look at the injuries we have in our squad. Look how just depleted it is. Look at our bench. The Antonio thing aside, like that's just a free kick. Well, it's not free, it's an accident. But still, he was too old. We shouldn't have been relying on Mikel Antonio at this stage. It's an absolute disgrace. We've just look at how shallow our squad depth is. It's embarrassing after all that money. We have two senior centre backs for 3 starting positions. Now we play a back 5. But even if you say you kind of need 4, 3, and we've got 2. We've got one senior left back and one that's on his way out in Creswell. Thankfully, Scholes is coming through. Right back, we've just got the one and another senior one that's on his way out. We have one striker, that's Danny Ings, on his way out. We have a slow midfield, one of the slowest midfield in the league. One left winger. It's honestly a sham. We don't have an out-and-out number 10, unless you count Paqueta in that role or Kudus, but we don't have that attacking, creative midfielder, in that mold. We don't have a box-to-box midfielder. How have we spent all this money and this is what we've got to show for it? We are the opposite to the Brighton model. Brighton potentially getting 90 million for Matoma. We have no assets. Well, apart from you have Kudus and Paqueta and Bowen, right? They're players we want to keep. We're not going to sell one player for 90 million anymore. We had Rice, who came through the academy, but Brighton have so many. Like, they can sell a Ferguson for 40 million. They can sell a Matoma for 90 million. They've still got so much quality in their squad. So pointing out Guilherme. They're talking about Guilherme for like 15 million, which apparently is a non-starter. We want to try and get close to what we got back. But like, you just look at that now and you think, yeah, he could be something one day. But we're not able to call upon him when we've got this many injuries. When our squad is this light, he's still not a serious option. That's a shambles. 25. I think it wasn't 25 mil we spent on him, by the way. I know we keep saying 25 mil. I think it was maybe 20 million euros, something like that. But still, all that money spent. And this is the state of the squad. We need a rebuild. After spending £60 million, we need a rebuild. And it's not like we spent it 10 years ago. And we can look back and say, wow, look at what we got out of all of these players. Look at what we have. Yes, we have the Conference League and we have a couple. We have a few seasons in Europe, but I don't know. I just think it's poor to have this many, to have the squad in this state after spending 600 mil. So what we need to not do is make the same mistakes of the past. That's what we need to. We spent nearly 20 mil on Danny Ings, by the way, and made him one of our highest paid players at 125 grand a week. Whose bright idea was that? That's a shambles. I think it was like 20 million for Danny Ings. Villa must have been laughing their asses off. They really saw us coming. Those were the types of deals that we've been doing. Fulkrug, right, 20 million. Who I think could have been good, but he's out 30. And he's injury prone. Cornet was like 18 million. 80 grand a week. Has done nothing. I liked him at Burnley. I was kind of excited when we signed him. I didn't expect him to flop like this. But it is just goes to show you. I mean, look, we spent over 50 mil on Haller and Skamaka, and they was here for like 5 minutes, and we sold them at a loss. It is baffling, and something has to change. And I'm really hoping that Potter and Carl McCauley and all his team can usher in that change. And that's why I like we're targeting these younger players that have potential. We do need experience. We do need proven quality, but we need youth. We can't keep signing these 29, 32-year-olds on big contracts. Bring that wage bill down. Let's start to have a bit of money to spend, really build something for the future. That's what we need to do. You know, all of this Prem proven, like that, where has that got us? Ings was Prem proven. But it was just a terrible signing, man. And we signed so many different profiles. The thing is, under the Moyes administration, right? Look at the strikers that we signed that just did not suit how we wanted to play with a lone striker. The Skamakas, the Hallers, the Ings, the Chicharitos. I think he might have inherited Chicharito, if I remember rightly. But still, we had some players that just did not suit him at all, that we spent big money on. God, honestly, this club has a lot to answer for. And a lot of it, I lie the blame at the feet of one David Sullivan, who's now, because Stuyton's gone, is now in charge of negotiating our transfers, along with Baroness Brady. Skamaka would be great under Potter. It's just typical, isn't it? It's the West Ham way. West Ham. So I'm just trying to keep the faith and hope we can go on and spend a bit of money. We're the 17th richest club in the league. And let's start bloody acting like it. We've given so much money to Moyes that was wasted. So much money to Stuyton and Lopetegui that was wasted. If we don't give this money to to Graham Potter, who can actually build something, then what are we doing? It'd be an absolute disgrace. So, Evan Ferguson, let's see. Fingers crossed it's just a loan with an option. Maybe we get first refusal. Is all. But if it's an obligation or a straight up buy, I'm very against it. Yeah, honestly. Yeah, Watkins, that's someone we won't give, but Arsenal are linked with. No chance Watkins is going. Arsenal had a 60 mil bid turned down. Now Duran's going. Yeah, how ridiculous is it that Villa had Watkins and Duran, and we're out here starving while we're just looking in the window while they're feasting. Their squad and how they've built their squad is impressive. They've got serious squad depth. Now their wage bill is getting to its limits. It's seriously getting to their limits, and they're encroaching on FFP. But they're through to the round 16 of the Champions League, and they're about to get João Felix. Potentially not about to get, but they're trying to get João Felix. They're looking at João Felix whilst keeping Watkins. And we just want one quality striker that can stay fit. Is that too much to ask for? Really is. But we like I said, we seem to have a fetish for injury-prone strikers, which is why we seem to be seriously looking at Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I said online, I wouldn't even take that geezer for free. Like, he's out of contract in the summer, I believe. Do not go near Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I don't want to sign a pre-contract. I don't care if he takes a wage cut. I do not want to see that guy at West Ham because he is the ultimate sick note. Championship, that's a good shout. Maybe go back to the Championship. We've signed well there. Let's start looking at these players that we can sign. Listen, if you're asking for names of strikers right now, there's no one that I would want that we could get. And that's being honest, which is why Callum Wilson, oh my God, I don't want to see that guy anywhere near West Ham either. There's no one we can get at all that I would want right now for us to spend money on. When it comes to loan, I'll take pretty much anyone. I'd take Calvert-Lewin on loan. Not now, obviously he's injured right now and he's out for weeks. But Wilson, I'll take just a body right now. I'll take anyone on loan to just have a striker, a body up front that can maybe do a bit better than Ings. Anyone. When it comes to permanent transfers, I'm not interested right now unless it is someone serious that we would go for in the summer. It's one of them ones. But let's just relax, see what happens. Hopefully, I'm really hopeful that Bowen, Somerville, and Paqueta, or at least two of those, are available against Chelsea, because we need the bodies, man, the injuries. And that's something that I'm hoping as well, is that over time these players are going to adapt and get fitter. It just shows you how little they were doing under Lopetegui, how little they were running, probably how little they were doing in training. This is the most intensity they've had, and if they've had a pre-season with Lopetegui, that was probably just like a holiday camp, where they need this time with Potter. Potter's going to look at the players, right? This is what I want to keep. This is what we need to get rid of. Get their bloody agents fucking offering them out to every club going, like everyone else's crap and their agents offer these players to us. We get so many fucking players, agents coming to us. I know all clubs do, but we listen to them. We listen to these agents. Sullivan loves it. He loves going with the agents. So stay away from that. Just go for players that we identify through the recruitment team, through Potter, what he wants, and back the man. And we will have a very, very bright future. That's what I'm going to say there. So thank you all for watching. Friday Night Pint tomorrow, where all the lads will be together, and we'll all be talking about, all the transfer news and everything, looking ahead to that and seeing what we're going to do ahead of Monday. And then one of us, I might be at Chelsea. So thank you all for watching. And one thing left to say, come on, you Irons.